Hello everyone, my name is Abrahamian with Saratech, and I'll be demonstrating some features within Fibersim. We'll be using Fibersim with NX11, and we'll be using this demo part right here. So you can see off the bat, we have some features already defined that you need to start off. That includes the extended boundary, the net boundary, the rosette, and the direction. So what I'll be showing you or focusing on today is zone-based design, or introduction to zone-based design. So we will be creating some geometry using Fibersim. Then we'll be defining some laminate specifications, defining our zones, creating some layers, and then creating some plies from our layers. So to start off here, I'm going to launch Fibersim. You can see that I already have some things defined in here. My laminate is already defined. Here's my normal direction or my layup direction, my rosette. I have no plies or cores or any of that defined yet. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to create a boundary within my part, and that boundary will be used to then create my zones. The zones cannot overlap. That's one of the definitions of zones. So to start, I'm going to go to Tools, I'm going to Curve Creation, I'm going to select my surface and some points. I'm just going to create a box in the center here. Once I do that, I'm going to be a closed curve and click Generate. So you can see I created some variation of a square inside my part. Once that is done, we're going to go enter the advanced settings and use our zones. So we're going to create a new zone. The name of the zone, we'll just keep it at zone 001. Our laminate is our skin, our rosette stays our rose 1. We're going to go ahead and define a laminate specification. So to do that, I'm going to go over to the right and link with link dialog and create new. We'll set a color to this so I can show the actual shading. We'll set it to yellow, and we'll call this 4P. We'll be putting 4 plies in this laminate spec. We'll do a create new, then we'll do a create based on, and then based on these two, another create based on. So we have 4 potential plies here. Next, we'll define our steps. So we want this one to be 10, 20, 30, 40. Ply count stays at 1 each, and then we'll change our orientation here. So we have 45 degrees, 90 degrees, negative 45 degrees. And our material here, we'll just set them all at prepreg PL3K. We'll go ahead and do that for all of them. It's kind of a default that we usually use when demoing or showing certain features. So once that's created, click OK to confirm that. You can see the shading. Right now it's being shaded. Not really seeing much, nothing really defined yet. Okay, and we'll set this at 4. Our origin here, so you can see this whole ply right now is being shaded or defined. Our origin here, we're going to set this origin outside of our area, and then our boundary here is going to be this boundary that we just created. So now if we go ahead and shade it, you'll see this is our first zone. Will be this outside yellow area. Okay, so now we'll define another zone. Our next zone will be zone 2, our skin, our rosette, all stays the same. We actually have our origin this time will be in the box that we just created, and our boundary will be the box. And then we'll define a laminate spec. So we'll go ahead and do create based on. And in this spec, we're actually going to add a core. So you'll see some of the features within cores, or details within cores. So go create new, and we'll set this material to be honeycomb. And we'll set this step to be 50. And the core material thickness, we'll keep that at 1. So now we have a ply count of 5 here. And now it's linked. Actually, we'll go ahead and modify that And we'll change this to 4P plus core. And click OK to confirm that. And we'll actually go ahead and modify this again and change the color. Let's make it magenta. Okay, once that's confirmed, we can go ahead and make this target apply count 5. And you can shade it, and you can see that this is now magenta. So this is the region that we're playing with. And once that is done, click OK. So now you can see these are both out of date. We can select both of these, do our zone to layer analysis, and at this stage we'll be creating virtual plies or layers. Let's first define a default offset specification. So this is basically how your plies will be dropped off. In this case, you won't really see a drop off because this is a set of plies in the center of your tool surface, but we can go ahead and define one anyways. So we can make this 0.25 inches, and we'll just make this 1/4 inch as the title. Everything else can stay default. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and click generate, and you can see that gives us a report of all the layers that we created. So now we can go highlight these, and you can see where these layers are. So now if we go over to our layers, you'll see that I have 4 plies generated, all of different degrees. So you can see that I defined 4 plies within one zone and 4 plies in the other, but because the sequence was the same, those are essentially 4 full body plies. In addition, there was a core defined and created, and that would be step 50. So now that I have these virtual plies created, or layers created, I can go ahead and select all of these different plies, go up to the top here and do generate plies. So now I have actual plies in my manufacturing portion that I actually created. Same goes for layers. I can go in here and actually define my layer. So I can go, if I want a virtual step core, virtual constant core, virtual variable core, go ahead and do a virtual constant core. Our zone can stay the same. Our thickness, this is drawn from our laminate spec. If you go to laminate spec and change that value, this will actually propagate and change, but we'll keep it as the default. We'll go ahead and generate core. Now if you go over to your cores, you'll see that you have a core here defined. So this is a very quick and easy way to do zone-based design. You can see that we have four full body plies, and we also have our core generated. So first we define where our boundaries were, and second we essentially created our layers. Then you can manipulate those layers, and then we created some manufacturing tangible data, which are your plies in your cores.